Mond. Hello, baby.
So, how we doing?
Good. Oh, duh. Well, you don't need to bring yours. Oh, well, good. Even better.
First hydrate.
There we go. Yeah.
Here's the second hydrate.
Hydrate, baby girl.
So much better now.
Do you? Dude,
Talking
I was just telling them
out.
Well, I told them that, like, I'm hearing these stories at the same time they are. Because, like, we did not talk about these previously.
Nope. I refused to show, I refused, and it was hard, because you know me, how much I love tea.
You tried a couple of times.
I know,
I feel like
it
you
was so hard. I had to, because I wanted your natural reaction. I didn't want to tell you the big plot.
I didn't want you to tell me either, because I wanted to go in raw, because hashtag raw dog. And I'm not disappointed.
But you see why, I chose it. Out of all the craziness in the world, that shit was ridiculous.
Okay, how did you... Oh, I got a burp. So, what's the next one?
So the next one is we're gonna be looking at the other side of crime as the victim.
Okay. That's new. I didn't expect that.
Also, PSA warning, there is abuse in this one as well. So...
Just so y'all know, I'm pretty sure there is going to be ample amounts of abuse.
In most of our stories. Because, let's be honest, abuse is one of, the biggest parts of murder, especially in relationships. I got lucky, and, Tater got lucky, right? We've both been in real abusive relationships before, which is kind of why I wanted to touch up on this, because I have severe PTSD from it. I know Tater has some issues from her stuff.
No, I just want to smack people in the face. Don't fuck with me.
I just cry.
we got two different ends of the spectrum. We handled our trauma different.
See, that's why we're best friends, though, because, if you take the craziness and you get aggressive with it, and I'm just sitting here I love you.
Sorry. You shouldn't have fucked with me. Now she's pissed.
I'm the 5'7" hefty girl, and she's the small little 5'1", 2 girl.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not afraid of nobody, and that's my problem. I'm not afraid of any wild animal. I am not afraid of any human. I don't care how big you are. I will get my ass kicked. I don't care.
I'm not afraid of
no one. And she's afraid of most things.
Yeah,
Sassy, I have to keep getting up. No, you don't understand. I have to keep getting up from the podcast to close that door that you just left open again, and I have to put a thing in front of it.
Okay, so for this one, there is actually a 911 call we're going to listen to. There's 2 parts. Just because I had to grab it from, a documentary, so... This story also has sort of a happy ending to it, so... I figured we'd leave off on a good note.
I don't like happy endings.
Oh, you'll like this one. You'll like this one. So, this story is about Teri Jendusa Nicoai. And I actually heard this story on one of my podcasts. I listen to a lot of Crime Junkie, and I also listen to Murder with My Husband, which is both are amazing podcasts. I would recommend them 100% to listen to them. I just started listening to Murder with My Husband. It's about a wife and a husband, and she's telling him all these stories. And that gave me the idea for this, so... Except my husband. Yeah, you're the husband. Hi, Daddy.
Oh my god, baby girl, stop. Daddy kink engaged times 7. Double fisting in this bitch.
Alright, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Sub mode activated?
Sub mode's activated.
Let's go. Alright, so Sheriff Christopher Schmalling remembers January 31st, 2004 as a bitterly cold Saturday night in Racine, Wisconsin. The air was so frigid that even breathing was painful. Schmalling held his breath as he sprinted from his squad car to the station. In the next county over, police officers were following up on the lead in the missing persons case Schmalling was working. They pried the lock of a storage unit, shining their flashlights around the 6 by 8 foot room until they landed on 2 suspicious objects: a baseball bat with what appeared to be dried blood caked on it, and a garbage can with the lid duct taped shut, the only container present that was big enough to hide a body. Peeling the tape off and opening the lid, they were horrified to find a woman crumpled up in the fetal position, her eyes swollen shut, her toes so black with frostbite it looked like she was wearing socks. Even more unbelievable, she was still alive.
Oh, this bitch was alive.
So, not long after they married, Teri Jendusa began to see her husband David Larson's true nature. He would yell at her if the window curtains were out of place, or if the towels weren't folded a certain way. He insisted she keep the door open when she was showering or using the bathroom. She was so afraid of his explosive reactions to accidents, like breaking a glass. She would throw away any incriminating evidence in the neighbor's garbage bin. On one occasion, David pulled a freezer-burnt sausage link out of the trash and berated her for wasting his money. "Why don't you bring it over here and I'll cook it for you?" she quipped. She'll never forget the evening David picked a fight over spaghetti. Teri was making dinner and had all the ingredients out on the counter when her husband demanded she put the package of noodles away before they went bad. Teri pushed back, "Do you want to eat dinner or not? They're dry noodles." David responded that it didn't matter if he made sense or not, she was to do as he said. The argument escalated, and Teri found herself running down the basement stairs. She had no other place to go. David had installed locks on the inside of the doors that only his keys could open. "I'm 30 years old, sitting in a box in my apartment, basement, hiding from my husband. What the hell am I doing?" she thought. The incident was the catalyst. Teri needed to leave David. The couple had 2 young daughters, and Teri knew he would eventually abuse them too. She and the children went to live at a shelter. "At the time, I was in fear for my life," she says. On the day they divorced, David sat in the courtroom crying. "You're going to regret this," he threatened. 3 years later, Teri had turned her life around. She met and married a wonderful man named Nicolai, who loved her and her daughters, and they'd recently learned they were expecting. So, a little bit of background. She and David had joint custody of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
So, every time she had to go pick up the girls, she had to go alone. And he was still hitting her and abusing her while picking up the girls. And Nick wanted to go with her, several occasions tried to go with her. And she had to turn him down because it got worse. They would end up with the police coming most times whenever Nick was with her. She just said it was easier to do it by herself. She even had friends and family help her out for a time, but she was really embarrassed with it, and she had to wait for people to get off work or, stop doing what they're doing, and she didn't want to be a burden. So
that's part of the abuse too. Is you don't want people to know because you don't want to look weak.
Right.
Also, you don't want to be a burden. What are you doing, buddy? I'm kidding.
So that's just kind of a rundown. I'm pretty sure it goes into more detail as I'll keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
So the divorce from David had spawned a bitter legal battle with Teri fighting for full custody. "He's violent towards me. Why should he be alone with our kids?" she argued, but the court was impressed by the fact that the father wanted to spend time with his children.
Ooh, good job. You want to do a basic fucking responsible thing while also beating the fuck out of the woman. Okay, yeah, good job, buddy.
Yeah, this trigger warning wasn't just for them, it was also for me.
You know how angry I get.
I
Don't
know.
raise your fucking voice to me. Don't lay a fucking hand on me.
Oh, I'm aware. David continued to verbally and physically assault Teri whenever she would drop off or pick up her daughters. It got so bad that she began insisting they exchange kids in public, places like McDonald's or the hardware store. She called the police twice and eventually filed a restraining order against him. Even though the order barred David from possessing weapons, Teri knew he still kept firearms in the house. But without the search warrant needed to prove the guns were there, police had no way of enforcing the order's stipulation. You know
Sounds about right.
you know how the justice system is. It doesn't exist if we don't see it.
Yeah, I fucking hate the government.
Yeah. Still, Teri held out hope that her ex had moved beyond the animosity. Despite the restraining order, when David asked Teri to collect their daughters from his house, she agreed. She couldn't ask her husband or friends to accompany her every time she picked her up her kids, she reasoned. David was still living in the house that they shared while married, in conditions that bordered on hoarding. Yeah, he was a big hoarder.
That sounds about right, too.
He had held on to mementos from their wedding, including her dress, photo albums, and video footage, which he showed to the girls as proof that mommy doesn't keep her promises. Yeah.
I was about to say, that's normal stuff that people keep.
And
I don't know why people keep their wedding dresses. I mean, I probably would if I had.
But she didn't keep them. He kept them. And he would show them to the girls and be like, Mommy doesn't love us. If Mommy loved us, she'd keep her promise. Look at her. She's saying, I will love Daddy until the day I die. And now she, where is she? She's not here. She doesn't love us.
Dude, the manipulation is so basic. Like, if you're going to be a manipulative fuck, can you be a little bit more original? Like, I know it's kids, and kids can believe anything, but a little bit of pride in your narcissistic, fucking abusive manipulation tactics. Like, God. Fucking stupid.
Well,
I'm not even impressed.
Here's the kicker. When Teri arrived that fateful day, David was uncharacteristically calm. The fact that it had been 3 years to date that since they divorced wasn't lost on her. It was their anniversary of their divorce.
Mm-hmm.
He said the girls, then 6 and 4, were playing hide and seek and wanted Teri to find them. Even though her gut told her not to, she didn't want to disappoint her kids, so she stepped inside the house. Later that day, 3 hours after Teri and the girls were supposed to be back, Nick called the police. When he gave dispatch David Larson's address, they recognized it. Earlier, a breathless woman had placed a 911 and given the same address. Deputies were already there, but the house was empty. They questioned the neighbors who said they'd seen David towing Teri's car earlier that morning. Then a second 911 call came in. This time, the woman stayed conscious long enough to give authorities critical information. Her name is Teri Jendusa Nicoai. Her ex-husband was trying to kill her, and she was in the back of his fleeing pickup truck. She said nothing about her daughters. Detectives returned to David's home, hoping they'd find Holly or Amanda there. What they found instead made the missing persons case even more urgent. Black sweatpants that matched Nick's description of what Teri had been wearing that day, a large blood stain on the carpet, and an empty handgun case. Now they were operating under the assumption that Teri had been badly assaulted and David was armed. Nearly 100 law enforcement officers set out following leads in the case. Volunteers who never met Teri spent the afternoon driving around unfinished neighborhoods, searching the basements of incomplete houses for any sign of her. The community was held at bay for 26 hours. What
was held for 26 hours?
The community, they were looking for her for 26 hours.
God!
When an Amber Alert returned nothing, police went to David to report to his job as air traffic controller. Yeah, that's the thing about David. He was a pilot or air traffic controller. I'm not sure if they're the same.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like it's either the pilot or it's the person who
I feel like it's the guy that waves
on the
sticks.
Ground.
Yeah, is it the guy that waves the sticks?
It's either the guy that waves the sticks or that waves the sticks or the guy that like controls the fucking navigations and stuff like from the ground.
I don't know. But
I don't fucking know.
He was also a part-time volunteer law enforcer.
Sounds about right too.
But there was no signs of Teri or her daughters in his car when he showed up. Officers told him his ex-wife was missing. Would he mind coming down to the station to see if he could help? Detectives Chris Schmalling and Thomas Naus would spend 6.5 hours questioning David when it was all said and done. Right away, he told them Teri hadn't showed up to pick up the daughters, so he had dropped the kids off at his girlfriend's house before heading to work. Authorities checked the location and were relieved to find the children were there, but both girls said they hadn't seen their mom that day. Which they technically hadn't.
Well, no, because their fucking daddy's fucking crazy.
I was begging him, talking to him with a tremendous amount of respect, says Schmaling. Time was of the essence, and if they were going to find Teri alive. Then detectives dropped the bomb that they found Teri's pants and blood in David's house. He started getting emotional as I was calling him on his lies, said Schmaling. David claimed Teri had attacked him and that he responded in self-defense. The rest, he said, was all a blur, but authorities finally had enough evidence to detain him. In doing so, detectives confiscated what personal belongings David had on him, including a wallet jam packed with business cards and receipts. Inside, they found a card for a storage facility near the town where David owned property. A phone call confirmed that he had a storage unit there, which he'd visited that morning. So he wasn't exactly a smart killer.
Like a storage, like I feel like if I was a murderer, I wouldn't use a storage unit because I really truly feel like that is the first place as a detective that I would want to look if I know that they got a fucking storage unit.
Well,
like he's stupid.
But his storage unit wasn't even in that county. It was in a different town. You know what jurisdictions are. They were looking in the wrong place.
Suck my ass. There shouldn't even be jurisdictions.
They were looking in the wrong place. Police officers found Teri in the corner of that unit. Her core body temperature reached 86 degrees Fahrenheit. She was within an hour of dying, doctors would later say. The fetus that had been growing in her belly for weeks was no longer viable. David Larson had inflicted so much trauma on Teri, including a crushing injury to her skull. Authorities feared that they would cause further damage if they tried to remove her from the trash can, so they left her in the garbage receptacle until paramedics arrived.
I mean, because she was all shriveled up and shit. Like she was frozen, she was shriveled up. How do you move someone like that?
So, let me see. I just want to make sure. Let me do a quick over here. Okay, so it doesn't say here. I guess I didn't check it when I put it in. So what I actually know about this case is, so Teri did show up. He said, your daughters are playing hide and seek. They want you to come find her. She goes in the house, and immediately he hits her over the head with a baseball bat and starts beating the shit out of her, continuous.
So where are the kids? Are the kids still hiding while this is going on?
They were locked in their room, and because the walls were a little thicker, they couldn't hear anything.
Wow. I mean, good, I guess, but good Jesus fucking Christ.
But listen to this shit, okay? Teri was trying so hard to not make noises because he's like, if you start screaming, then they're gonna know that you're in trouble and you're gonna scare your children. So she kept herself quiet while she was getting the shit beat out of her.
This man needs his ass whooped. He needs a good old southern ass whooping.
And then he ties her, tapes duct tapes to her hand, tied her like this. Tapes her feet together, and then tapes her from the top of her head all the way down to her neck. Now,
so she had her face covered?
Completely. He puts her in the garbage bin, and it was one of the heaviest snowfalls that Wisconsin has ever seen that year. So he goes out and puts a bunch of snow into the garbage can to make sure her body would freeze so it wouldn't start smelling when he put her in the storage unit. He throws her in the bin with the snow into the truck and puts a tarp over it, and puts the girls into the back seat of his pickup truck, and while she's in the bed. So he's driving to the storage unit, and she was still alive, trying to scream for help.
These kids are there. They have no fucking clue what's going on. She's probably so weak that any noise she makes is gonna... One, it's gonna be muffled anyway, considering that he made it so. But there ain't no way she's gonna be able to adequately fucking scream.
Well, here's the most amazing part. He never checked her for anything. Her cell phone was still in her back pocket.
Oh my god, you fucking idiot.
So when she was left alone, when she thought she was alone because he was in the house getting the girls, she shimmied it out of her pocket and was able to bring it up into her taped hands.
Oh, that's with the recordings. When you were talking about how somebody couldn't...
And that's what we're about to listen to. Because the dispatcher thought it was a prank call.
Oh, okay.
So what I need you to do is I need you to open up my stream so you can hear me.
Okay.
I'm going to mute my microphone. And I'm going to start playing the recordings when you're ready.
Okay. So then I'll mute my mic because I'm going to do it on my phone. Oh, wait, no. People need to be able to hear it, though.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Hold on.
So just open it up. Your desktop should pick it up.
Yeah.
You don't have to show my stream. You just have to be able to hear. And it's already kind of hard to hear, so I'm going to interpret what it says afterwards, but I want you to hear how chilling this is, okay? Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Opening it up. I'm excited. I'm so excited to hear it. Is that fucked up?
Yeah. We're both kind of messed up.
Okay.
911 mobile emergency. Where's your emergency? I can't hear you. Are you having difficulty breathing? 26841. What's the street?
So that was the first part. The heavy breathing you could hear was the tape that while he was taping her, she played dead when he was taping her up. Okay? So she played dead. She had the tape around her mouth, and she moved her lips in a way where she could still use her mouth without him noticing. I can't hear you. You're still muted.
He's literally the biggest fucking dumbass I've ever heard of. Abusive piece of shit, which people who are abusive, I'm sorry, I don't care how intelligent you are, you're still fucking dumb. But this guy's actually dumb on top of being an abusive fucker. So and it is blowing my mind.
So now we're gonna go to the second recording. It's the same phone call, but when you hear the heavy breathing and her go silent, that's her blacking out because she kept going unconscious.
Okay.
All right, ready? So how much did you get from that?
Besides the super creepy breathing and stuff, not much. I think she said something about a park.
Okay, so this is what she says. It says, 911, what's your emergency?
Mm-hmm.
My husband is trying to kill me. Your husband's trying to kill you? Yes. Okay, where are you? I'm under a tarp.
God!
Okay, can you come out of under the tarp so someone can see where you are? No, I'm tied up. If you're tied up, how are you holding the phone?
This is probably why they thought that it was a prank.
But she was so rude, and she's like, it doesn't say it in the clips because I couldn't find the actual recording of it, but she says, are you actually going to talk to me, or are you just going to continue breathing?
Wow. Well, she's trying to fucking breathe because she's about to fucking die.
All Teri could keep thinking about was the fact that she needed to stay alive, like, for her kids. She can't die like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she's gone, her husband gets her kids, and they're doomed. So
he gets everything.
She struggles to get out of her bindings, and she's able to free her hands. And what she does is she goes and reaches out of the garbage receptacle that she's in, and finds a way to get out of the tarp, and starts waving her hand, seeing if anybody could see her. She feels the car stop. And David comes in and starts beating her with the bat again, and says, one more stunt like that, and I'm going to use my 38. Puts her back into the receptacle, and puts the tarp back over and starts driving again. Now he gets to the storage unit, and it's empty. It's 6x8, completely bare, and all that's left is a bunch of garbage, like boxes and stuff, and wood piled up in the corner. So he takes duct tape, tapes the lid of the receptacle, because he knows she's still alive. He knows. And he just wants her to die slowly.
He's such a pussy.
So he goes and puts her into the corner of the storage and piles the boxes and stuff on top of it. Leaves the storage facility, and then all the stuff happened with the cops. She comes to while she's in the storage facility, and she realizes she's not moving anymore. So she starts screaming out, but she doesn't scream out help. She screams out, Dave! Dave!
To make sure he's not there?
In case he was there, then he couldn't be like, oh, you're screaming for help, I'll kill you. And she could just be like, no, I was looking for you.
Oh, smart.
That's how smart she was.
Wow, that is really fucking smart. Thank you so much for the hydrate, Hex.
Yeah, thank you, Hex. So when she realizes he's not coming, then she starts screaming, help, help. But you gotta remember, her whole face is duct tape. You heard her on the call. She could not breathe very well.
I couldn't understand a word she was saying.
Yeah. And all she did when she was on the call was continuously, like, repeat the address over and over and over again, hoping somebody somewhere would, like, understand.
And see, that's smart too, because if you're sitting there trying to explain what's going on, they're not going to be able to find you.
So,
especially if they can't understand you.
So the cops who called the storage facility, they're like, hey, does David Larson own this place? Yeah. Has he been there recently? Well, yeah, he was there this morning. Dropped something off. Oh, can you go to the storage facility and see if you hear anything? And the worker goes in there, and luckily she was conscious when he did, because all he heard in there was the faint moaning of, oh. And he comes back and he's like, there's someone yelling in there.
There's someone in there.
That was all they needed. They called the sheriff's department in that county. They started flying to that storage facility, praying to God they get there in time. The sheriffs in both counties met up with each other, busted open the lock, and they're like, okay, where is she? There's nowhere to hide in this facility. And then they realized, oh, it could be that garbage can right there, right? The one that's duct taped. And then they opened it, and she was half naked. Toes were black. The tape was all fucked up. Her face looks like a mummy's face because of how much tape was on her.
God.
And she was still alive.
See, she had the biggest will to live, obviously for her kids. Because you
Absolutely.
cannot leave those kids with that crazy ass motherfucker. Because I feel like if it wasn't for the kids, it would have just been easier for her to give up and be like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Yes, spooky stuff. It is actually Murder Mystery Monday. Timmy. She survived. She fucking survived. Okay, she survived. She couldn't even fucking talk.
Yeah.
She couldn't talk.
On August 16th, 2005, David Larson was sentenced to 35 years in prison for attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Teri spent almost 7 weeks in the hospital undergoing 10 different operations, and even after she returned home, remained in a wheelchair for several more weeks. She was pissed that she could no longer jog, and at least for a while couldn't get upstairs to tuck her daughters into bed at night, but she was grateful that she and her girls were alive and would never have to see David again. Looking back now, she laughs. The person who tried to take her life ended up losing nearly every semblance of his own. Unfortunately, she did have to have her toes amputated because the frostbite was just that bad.
Yeah. Once you get frostbite, like once anything goes black, you gotta amputate that shit. And it's all his fucking fault. I'm gonna lurk while I watch one Digimon movie I haven't seen yet. It's called Digimon Adventure: The Last Evolution. Well, I've never heard of that. I feel like I need to watch it. She is the biggest fucking badass. Okay, like could you just imagine, like, your face is taped, your wake, you have been baited within like an inch of your life, your fucking toes are frozen, and the only thing you can think to do is just to be fucking smart as shit about everything.
She later told reporters that if you have kids or someone you want to stay alive for, that's enough.
Wow. Thank you, Pyro.
So, ever since that happened to her, she's been instrumental in helping to draft laws that protect domestic violence victims. Like the Wisconsin SAFE Act, which takes guns out of the hands of abusers.
Good.
And the 2014 law gives more authority to sheriff deputies who previously couldn't take an abuser's firearms without a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
So she is literally the leading fight against domestic violence right now.
Good God, like.
And on a happy note, her and Nick did get pregnant again, and they had a son.
Oh, good. Was it a cute baby? Did you look?
I didn't see any pictures. So, I would assume after something like that, you'd probably want to stay out of the limelight
Media
for a little while.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be posting that shit on Facebook.
But yeah.
Damn.
Those were our two stories today, and so we get to see both sides of it. We had an extreme abuser who's a female abuser. Remember, folks, abusers aren't just men, okay? Abuse comes in all shapes and forms. Like, there's mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Women can be more vicious than men, as we have heard. You know, it all depends on the person, because it's just a thing. And I know a lot of men who've been abused are downplayed because, you know, masculinity, toxicity, and stuff.
Men can't be abused.
But that's not true. So
exactly.
There are many helplines out there if you are in abusive relationships. There are lots of websites you can go to. I've seen stories where people just call the police station ordering a pizza to get out of their situation. Like, there are ways to leave, and as a survivor myself, I know how hard it is to leave. I'm not one of those people like, why are you with him? Because it is a trap. It
don't start that way.
It doesn't. Abuse does not happen overnight, guys. It happens so gradually, you don't even realize it's happening until you're so deep in it, you don't have another choice. My abuser, he literally groomed me. I was young, I was 17, and he groomed me from that age to be like, yes, always do what I'm told. Isolated me from my parents, isolated me from my friends, I was so alone. I didn't have another place to go. And when I did finally leave him, I was homeless for a little bit. And until my dad brought me back home. And even then, he still tried to get me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so encompassed with him that I had contemplated it until my friends and family are like, this is your last chance. We can't help you after this. And I knew if I went back, I would not be alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows because after me, I know I'm not going to say names or nothing because this is still Twitch and I'm not going to do anything. But I do know that the people after me was also abused, and I'm so sorry for that. But, you know, he's dead now, so whatever.
He's deader than shit.
He's deader than shit.
He's deader than shit.
And I didn't kill him, I promise. No.
I definitely didn't find him and kill him. I didn't do nothing like that. I feel attacked right now.
I feel like you would have been in a long line waiting to do so. There are so many people out there who would have been like, I got you, boo.
See, people who are like adequate abusers, right? Abusers in general, but adequate abusers who do it over and over again, no matter who they're with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that they ever make it past a certain age anyway. Like, I'm surprised family members don't just hunt them down and, like, shoot them in the head. I'm surprised that they don't die of horrible drug overdoses.
I mean, like, I can actually answer you about the family member thing. My family had no clue.
Oh, yeah, no, you know what? That's true, too, because
My family
nobody ever knows.
I never told anybody. Like, everybody saw the mental for it. Like, they saw his outrages and stuff. And I was sitting there, oh, he's just having a bad time.
Defending it.
I shouldn't have done this. Like, I took the responsibility for that.
And see, I didn't even think of that because nobody ever knew anything about me. Like, they just knew out of nowhere. We were not together anymore, and I moved out of nowhere and never talked to him again. Like, nobody, like...
You don't want to be weak.
Nobody knew anything was going on.
You don't want to be weak. And you'd also...
No, and I don't want no one to help me. Like, and that's the thing, too. That's what abusers do, too. Is they will literally take away... They will chisel away at you and your self-worth.
Until you're
to the point to where you're codependent. You're embarrassed that you're codependent. But at that point, you can't help it. You can't rely on anyone else. Because even if you know you could get that help, you don't want to fucking do that. You don't want to admit you're wrong. You don't want to look like you were being stupid, but you keep going in the same fucking cycle over and over.
I can't tell you how many times him and I broke up and got back together and broke up and got back together and broke up and got back together. Oh my fucking God. I hated myself at one point. Jesus.
I will say, when I don't have on and off relationships, and I think that it does really boil down to that first relationship that I had. That was really bad.
Every Monday, Eternal. Every Monday.
Good night, Eternal. This is amazing. Please do more murder mystery soon. Of course. Fuck yeah. And I got an idea for one, and I think y'all are gonna like it, and I'm really excited. It's one of my favorite stories.
She's been hyping me up about this, but she has to do research, so we're not sure what's gonna happen. I do have two lined up for next week, though, just in case. And we also would like to bring in an extra person to host with us. Right?
Yeah. So we need to figure that out.
We need to figure out a way to do it, because if a lot of people want to do it, then I think we should have a system.
Yeah, I think that there should... What I'll do in my Discord is people who are interested, we could put like a list of rules, and then they can say, hey, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And then we'll like figure that out. Is it Jeffrey Dahmer, you cannibal? It's not. Okay, Sassy's the Jeffrey Dahmer fanatic. Like, she knows everything about Jeffrey Dahmer. She has since she was like 6 years old. Maybe. She'll probably fucking tell you all about it. I mean, want to hear about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Mine next week are gonna be child killers. Not people who kill the children who kill people.
It better not. I swear to fucking God, Royal, if you fucking take mine.
No, they're
because mine's about a child killer.
These are females.
Okay, this one's a boy.
Yeah, no, these are females.
And let's just say he hates bananas.
Why do I feel like this is you?
I have a cooter.
I think you should do it after 9 p.m. on Saturday. I mean, we can talk about it. I don't mind doing extra streams.
Oh, fuck me.
But that's something
Both
we'll
of my
talk
faves are
about.
dead.
That's something we'll talk about, and we'll let y'all know if that's something we want to do.
Mhm.
I'm gonna open up my.
Oh,
chat.
Eternal says he'd like to get involved. Oh, Eternal, yes. Fucking yes. Oh my god. You are so much fun.
Sorry, guys.
I want Eternal. I want Eternal in.
All right. I mean, sure. Like I said, we can do. We'll do like a switch out every week. You know.
Fuck yeah. Like our celebrity guests.
Yeah. Also, we want to be able to promote other streamers. So, like, if you're a streamer, we want to make sure you get your name out there too. I know we're not. Tater and I aren't really big people for streaming, but I mean, streamers helping streamers.
Take it like a Polaroid picture.
But yeah, so what did you guys think? I mean, like, all chats are open now, so we are. If you're not a sub, you can go ahead and let me know. Like, how bring my sultry Scottish action to. You know what? Maybe I'll find a Scottish killer.
Sub chat off. There we go. I'll bring my sultry Scottish accent. Do it, Eternal. But you gotta bring it. You gotta make it a little spicy. You gotta say the B word. Can you say the B word? You have to say the B. You have to say the B word one time. Squab! Hi! Hi! Have you been here?
Kamada Bone, hi. How are you doing?
Yes. Yeah, we had to keep it sub.
Yeah, we had sub mode on for this duration. So the reason we did sub mode is, if you guys have noticed, Tater and I get super distracted, and like her and I will go off on tangents if we get distracted forever. Hi, kitty. He hates me so much right now.
He loves me. He wants to love me forever. Look at it, cold beans!
He's just like, help me. I'm sick of this bitch. Help me now.
Hold on. Cold beans!
Oh,
Sorry,
that's
I
actually
really love
now.
it so much.
Okay, turn.
Also, guys, don't leave Discord. Ooh, got you. If say the B word, I'll say the B word, I promise. Okay, I'm actually waiting now. Bye. Okay, bye, Eternal. Thank you so much for coming in. I adore you. And it's gonna be fun. You're gonna come play with us.
So, yeah.
I make a deal with God, and I get him a swap place.